I'm very excited to talk about. Right here we have the founder and executive director, Anna Bess Moyer Bell. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
So the organization is called COAAST. It stands for Creating Outreach About Addiction Support Together. Molly O'Brien mentioned this last week with another guest that is going to be participating in this event. Let's first talk about COAAST, what the mission of the organization is, and how you founded this organization here in Rhode Island.
Okay, so COAAST, our mission is to eradicate the opioid epidemic using arts-based educational and therapeutic programming within communities in Rhode Island and Massachusetts and larger New England. And I founded COAAST about 2 years ago. I had a lot of friends in my hometown of South Kingstown were dying, and when the first friend died, I thought it to be an isolated incident,
Right.
And it was devastating. But I didn't realize that it was part of a larger issue. And then after I had a couple more friends died, I realized, okay, there's something going on
It's
here.
an epidemic.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
but that was back in 2014, and people really weren't talking about it very much, not like they are today. So that same time frame, I was in school to become a drama therapist, and I wrote a paper about how performance could be healing. And I started thinking about how I could use drama therapy in my community of South Kingstown to address the epidemic, help with healing, help with the grieving process, help bring the conversation into the public sphere, and really destigmatize and help connect people.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's a really amazing kind of hurdle that you're trying to,
Yes.
reach with this organization, because it is a big issue here in Rhode Island, here in the Northeast, and as you said, it's not something that people particularly feel comfortable talking about. Most people who have a personal experience with addiction or opioid, addiction, it's a painful thing to talk about. So how have you felt that your use of drama therapy opens that door for people?
So it's painful, and there's a lot of shame and blame, and like pointing fingers and scapegoating, and a lot of silence that goes along with it. So the way I use theater, really the way I use performance, is I give you a story of a kind of modern American family, and I kind of situate you in their living room or in their dining room, and you watch them go through a day. And it's like any other day, except for this day, they're kind of coming to grips with the fact that that Sam, the child, has an opioid use disorder. And but it's mixed in with all of these nuanced, family jokes,
Right.
The brother and sister joking with each other and picking on each other. Dad is also sick, so they're talking about dad's cancer treatment. Mom's talking about getting off your cell phones when you're at the table. So it's a really relatable story. So what happens with audience members is they come see this play, they recognize themselves or identify themselves in a character, and then they're able to connect with the characters and the storyline, whether or not they've had any connection to addiction or opioid use disorder or even alcoholism or mental illness. They have a connection somewhere in the story with one of the characters.
Right.
And that really opens up people to become more empathetic and understanding. And then the people who have been traumatized or deeply affected by this epidemic, it's hard to talk about. Like it feels bad.
Yeah, and some people don't even want to open that
Right.
door because it opens
Right.
the floodgate of emotion. And
Right, yeah. And so the way the characters work is, instead of me talking about me, I can talk about the character on stage.
Yeah.
And I am talking about myself, but it's disguised in that character.
Right.
And that really helps traumatized individuals talk about it without exposing themselves until they're ready to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this piece you're talking about is Four Legs to Stand On.
Yes,
This is
this is the play. Yes.
the play that you are utilizing this piece in your organization, and you're performing it. And how many performances of Four Legs to Stand On have you done at this point?
We've done close to 30. We've been all over Massachusetts, all over Rhode Island. We've even been out to Block Island, and then this fall we our group didn't do it, but somebody in Springfield, Ohio performed it.
Oh wow!
So yeah,
That's really cool. And who are the actors? Are you hiring like professional actors to perform the play, or?
Yes.
Okay.
So all of our actors are professional working actors in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, but they're also people who have a direct connection with addiction. So you had Paul on, and Paul's son is in recovery, and I don't want to speak for the actors; they speak for themselves at our talkbacks. But they all have some family or friend connection, so they understand it on a deeper level.
Right.
And that was important to me because it's not only therapeutic for our audiences, but it's therapeutic for our actors. And our actors are able then to sit down with audiences and have those conversations and talk not only from the character's perspective, but also from their own.
Right.
So, yeah.
So I'd love to talk about this event that's coming up January 15th. It is called Owning Our Story, about the overdose epidemic. It's going to be at the Vets.
Yes.
This is a really incredible event that you've put together in collaboration with the Rhode Island Department of Health.
Yes.
First of its kind. Tell us a little bit about how this was developed, what we can expect at this event on the 15th.
Yeah, so so I've been working, I just had my last meeting with the Rhode Island Department of Health, and we've been working to co-create an event that is not only therapeutic, but also is educational for the public. So it's free and open to the public. It's been sponsored by the Rhode Island Department of Health and a large grant from the Center for Disease Control. And it's our way of really opening up the doors and helping create a space where people are educated about the physiology of addiction by Dr. Jody Rich from Brown. People will hear a really powerful story of recovery from Paul's son, Paul. They both have the same name, which makes it difficult. And then Alyssa Sullivan, who will be speaking towards the end of the night, who's a local yoga instructor. She talks about her story of a divorce and how her life living in Barrington, living in kind of a white picket fence area, and then feeling the pain and the shame around divorce, how that helped her become vulnerable and tell her story and connect with others. So those are our big three presenters. We'll have pieces of the play throughout the night, and different actors will be playing different parts. And then we have a vigil that will be at the end before the talkback. And we talked earlier today about how we're bringing in Hands in Harmony, which is a music therapy office in southern Rhode Island. And they are going to plant chimes around the entire auditorium, and they're going to ring chimes while everybody has little votive candles 336 times to represent the 336 Rhode Islanders we lost last year. Whew. Sometimes it's like, I talk about this every day, but sometimes there are moments when it creeps up, it's like that feeling, it's like something on your back that kind of creeps up and lets you know, like, these are real people. And the vigil for us is really a way to put faces to the epidemic. These aren't just statistics, these aren't just numbers, these are 336 people, Rhode Islanders, who lost their lives.
It is staggering sometimes hearing these numbers. 336 people who could possibly be here today had their family members maybe known what to do, and it's very difficult to know what to do. You always want to do the best for your family and friends, and it's just very difficult. And I think one of the things that's really wonderful about this event is you're also not just being able to reach each person individually with some information, but you're creating a network. So hopefully people can meet one another and maybe reach out in these moments that are, difficult to manage alone.
Yeah. I think that's the only way we're going to stop the epidemic, is if people feel supported. And so we start with the person suffering from addiction, right? If they don't feel supported, or like they can come out and ask for help, they're not going to ask for help, and they're going to suffer alone. And if the parents or the family members or the loved ones don't feel supported, they're also not going to ask for help. And I'll just do a little plug for Rido. There is a hotline for Rhode Island. It's 1-800-942-STOP, and you can call if you're somebody suffering from addiction or you're a family member, and they will put you in touch with resources and ways to help you get into treatment, and also point you to grief groups, point you to support groups and educational groups, and it's really a great first step.
Right.
Outside of the event, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what do you hope kind of, if you're thinking big picture, since this is the first time an event like this has happened, what do you hope to accomplish with the event, kind of on a bigger scale?
Yeah, so I think, Dr. McDonald at the Department of Health and I talk about this every time we meet. The event's already started. We've been marketing,
right,
and the conversation is already happening. I watch, the feed on Facebook under the event, and some people are arguing and angry, and others are trying to educate each other on addiction as a disease, or this is my story, and people are sharing pictures, people reaching out to us and the Department of Health and trying to figure out how they can get more involved.
Right.
So that's really the big picture, is not just the event itself, but all of the social media, all of the conversations, this conversation, all of that's happening around it, that may not have happened otherwise. And then the event itself, I want to blow the top off of shame and blame and really bring people together and acknowledge their story and really make people feel like they're not alone, because you're not.
It's very true. I mean, unfortunately, they're not alone, as we know, because there are a lot of people suffering from this right now. And you're right. Starting this conversation is extremely important. The fact that we're talking about it wasn't like that 10 years ago, and people were suffering then. So amazing event, and free, which is wonderful.
Open to the public.
Open to the public. Just go check it out and listen to some amazing stories, some great insights into the disease. And as far as COAAST, what else is anything else that you would like to talk about as far as what COAAST is doing besides preparing for this event that we have coming up right now?
We got a lot going on. So we have a tour of the play itself in March and April. We'll be at 7 high schools around the state, ones that we've identified as kind of the most at-risk areas. And then we'll be in 3 different communities. All of that will be on our website, the tour schedule when it comes out. And then I just got brought on at Rocky Hill School to become the innovator in residence. So I'll be working across disciplines, using drama therapy to address the stigma around addiction, and also educating kids about the physiology of addiction and what happens in families, and a little bit more about mental health and mental illness. And I'll be working with English teachers and health teachers and the drama teacher and the music department and the arts department, and that's really exciting for me, because I get to spread this message, but in all of these different disciplines. And then I can reach, one kid may not like drama, or one kid may not like writing, but he may be into music, or he may be into the visual arts, or she. So I'm really excited about that.
Oh, that is really cool.
The next year. Yeah.
If let's say there's a school out there that is interested in maybe having you guys come, is there a way for a school system to sort of contact you guys and figure it out?
Yeah, all of our information is on the website, COAAST with 2 A's, COAAST.org. There's a contact page. You can contact me or my assistant Beth, and we'll figure it out. And what I hope to do is train more drama therapists or art therapists in the area, or even just actors, to use our model and bring it into other school systems. So yes, please call me, email me, Facebook us. Yes,
absolutely. COAAST.org with 2 A's.
Yes.
And of course, this event, Owning Our Story, will be at the Vets on January 15th. It's free to the public, so spread the word if you or someone you know is being affected by this, or if you're just somebody that would like to be more educated on the topic. We encourage you to check it out. Anna Bess, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
That is my show for today, so be sure to check me out next Tuesday, same time, same place, 3 to 4 p.m. And you can check out Kate Nagel with News and Politics at the 4 o'clock hour today, so be sure to check her out today. Thank you so much. I'll see you next. Thank you so much. I'll see you next. Thank you so much. I'll see you next. Thank you so much. I'll see you next.